Introduce yourself quickly.
Yes. Sir, my full name is Katlagunta. I hail from India district in Andhra Pradesh. Sir, I was fortunate to complete my studies in IIT Bhubaneswar. I did electrical engineering.
Can you be a little louder? We can't hear you properly.
Sir, is it audible?
A little better, but I think it can be better. Can you check your system once again?
Sir, how is it, sir?
Yeah, much better. Please go ahead.
Sir, is it audible?
Yeah, it is better now. You can please go ahead.
Sir, I was fortunate to study at IIT. I completed my electrical engineering graduation there. After that, I got good work exposure at Tata Power. I worked in coal as well as waste-to-heat technologies, also involved in CSR activities, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I did my open distance master's from Indira Gandhi National Open University in political science, sir. Sir, my hobbies include reading non-fiction books, also listening to audiobooks, sir, on various genres, ranging from cosmology, astronomy, various self-help personal development books, and also on Indian journalism.
Sai, tell me something which is not already mentioned in the DAF. A few things about yourself.
Yes. Sir, I'm like coming to my qualities. I am a pathetic person, sir. I care about people, and I have a diverse interest, sir. I like to work in public service.
Sai, you come from Andhra Pradesh, right?
Yes, sir.
And you speak Telugu.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question. So, I've noticed that Telugu people are not, when they meet people who speak Tamil, there seems to be some kind of a friction. What is the reason of that friction?
Sir, personally, I'm not aware of that friction, sir. When I was at IIT, we had a good time with Tamil students, and I have a lot of Tamil friends also.
But do you think something exists which this feeling exists and it propagates and it also polarizes these two areas?
Sir, one thing could be like in terms of the public, like in terms of a social arena, there is a little bit of conflict with regard to the language barrier, and also like our state has been divided out of Tamil Nadu, and we were asking for Madras. At that time, there was a little bit of friction, sir. But right now, I don't think there was any animosity between the two states.
Okay. And Sai, looking at your DAF, something which puzzles me is that your graduation is entirely in a different domain and your post-graduation is entirely in a different domain. So it tells me that you are a little puzzled. Maybe I don't really understand why have you taken that decision. Can you please elaborate on that?
Sir, the main reason is the decision to shift towards humanities subsequently was because after my exposure at IIT and also while I was technically working at Tata Power, various experiences have led to a realization that public service job is best suited to me. Therefore, I was preparing for civil services, sir, after that, and political science was my optional. So, and also it was very interesting to me. Hence, I did my master's from EPFO, sir. That is the primary reason.
Hello, Sai.
Hi, sir.
Can you tell me any three weaknesses which you think prevail in you, in your personality?
Sir, one weakness is that I used to eat a lot, sir, and I gained a lot of weight. I worked on it, sir. Sir, second weakness is like it is a weakness that is arising out of my strength, empathy. I care a lot about other people's problems. So I spend unnecessarily too much amount of time in helping them, and I sometimes lose my own commitments. That is another thing, sir. So I can.
Okay. Sai, please tell me any three things which your state does to promote an industry.
Sir, our state is taking various measures, sir. For example, they are improving the legal and policy-oriented situation to better attract the industry. So, in the ease of doing, the government has taken various policy measures which has improved Andhra Pradesh in the ease of doing business to a top level. So, a lot of policy level changes are happening, sir. Sir, secondly, there was a lot of tax concessions that are being given since our state is newly established and we wanted to attract industries also. With respect to manufacturing sector, there was a lot of decisions that have been taken with regard to tax concessions.
Okay. Sai, can you please tell me that you did your graduation from an IIT, right? And your post-graduation from an open learning institute. Why so?
Sir, that
If you feel the need of an, like you should do your graduation from a proper institute, being an IIT student, you know the perks of IIT, right?
Sir, I think it is okay, sir, because my decision to study in open university through masters was because at the time I was preparing for the civil service examination, and open distance education has a lot of advantages, sir. It has a lot of flexibility. We can study on our own. There is no requirement. Whereas in the case of graduation, it's a technical subject. It requires a lot of laboratory experimentations and all. Humanity subject might not.
Sai, an additional year is also added. Don't you think that is a waste of time at this age?
Yes, sir. Sir, additional year, sorry, I did not understand, sir.
Like it might be of 3 years, no?
So because of COVID, the exam has been postponed, sir. That is the reason.
Okay. Okay, Sai, you worked in Tata Power.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me, is it listed on a stock market?
Yes, sir, it is listed on stock market, sir, and it is giving good returns to the investors.
What is the estimate share price right now of Tata Power?
Sir, I'm not able to recall, but it was increasing.
How many total companies of Tata are listed on the stock market?
Sir, I'm not aware. Sir, Tata has more than 100 companies, but how many are listed? I'm not sure.
Okay, and Sai, can you tell me how do you handle a stressful situation?
Sir, I'm assuming that in a workplace stressful situation, sir.
Sorry?
Sir, the stressful situation is at a workplace or in a personal.
A general stressful situation. Okay. Something at home, a fight with a friend, anything of that sort.
Sir, whenever any stressful situation occurs, I will try to calm myself down, because if we do not calm ourselves, we might take wrong decision. Whether it can be in terms of speech, in terms of action, which might exaggerate the whole situation. So I will calm myself down. Secondly, I will try to find out what are the disagreements between the persons involved, and see if there are merits that I can partially agree with the other person, also keeping the disagreements. So I try to calm down the situation, and make any major decision after the stress situation is over.
Okay, and who is the current chairman of Tata Industries? How much share does Ratan Tata hold right now?
Sir, sorry, sir.
Sai Teja, you have worked with the organization which otherwise had a very prestigious position in Indian mindset also, that is Tata Group. But recently, we got a very disturbing news about the Tata Group, specifically about the Tata Powers, that few of its employees has been arrested for corruption charges. So why this trend in Tata Powers? What kind of work culture issue is there because of which these employees has been arrested, or they participated in such a activity?
Sir, I also read, sir, in the recent news. Sir, the reasons could be human resource management, sir, because Tata Power has a good recruiting culture, but at higher levels it is very good, sir, in terms of taking graduate engineers and management engineers. But I do not know the employee of Tata Power at which level that person belongs to. So that could be one reason in terms of recruitment. However, once recruitment is done, training and all these things are very good, sir. So we have to look into the specific case of that particular issue, sir.
All right. These are the only two reasons. I don't think these are that prominent that a person of a senior level become or participate in such kind of bribery or corrupt practices.
Sir, yes, sir. One more reason could be that while handling big projects, So some amount of discretion is required at the higher levels also. So people he might be misusing his position of authority.
Do you have any such kind of a experience? Have you seen these kind of things in while you was working with this group?
Sir, I haven't witnessed, sir.
Huh?
I haven't witnessed at such levels, sir. There were small incidents where the management, I mean the engineers, they were neglecting the safety aspects. Like a lot of contract workers will engage workers who do various construction activities, and they need to use all kind of safety, full body harness, and all these things while doing their work. So sometimes, due to efficiency concerns, some management level people are overlooking those things. So small incidents is transgression I observe, sir, but not the high level bribery kind of things.
Okay. Sainteja, tell me the Marxian perspective towards industrialization.
Sir, the Marxian perspective basically approaches the industrial relations from the point of view of conflict between the workers as well as the management. So it sees the interest of the workers is very much antagonistic towards the versus the interest of the bosses. While bosses will try to maximize their share of profit, the Marxist perspective says they will try to give very less amount of money in terms of wages and the working conditions, and they will try to maximize their profit level. So it sees the industrial relations as a conflict happening between the workers and the management.
Okay, what is dialectical materialism?
So the idea of dialectical materialism is that history moves in a dialectical way, meaning that there is some idea, and against that idea, some other counter idea will arise, and both these ideas will clash, and some new idea, better idea will result. And that is how history progresses in terms of.
Are you sure about your explanation for this concept of dialectical materialism? I see it's not very clear, or there are many aspects of this.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. So that is in terms of ideas only, sir. However, Marx says that it's not just the ideas; it is the.
All right. Tell me, what are the objectives of social security?
So the primary objective of social security is to ensure under various contingencies, vulnerable sections, under contingencies such as unemployment, disability, death, or various contingencies are happening. They are protected. And the state comes into serving them to ensure that their well-being is taken.
So, in very brief, explain me what kind of e-governance initiative the EPFO has taken since 2 years.
Sir, briefly, various e-governance initiatives include, for example, UAN number, sir, that can be generated online itself. Once UAN is generated from the point of view of the employees, they can do the compliance also online, compliance reports, and e-inspection also is done, sir. So inspection is also done online. And presently, there is e-nominations going on, sir, with regard to EDLI thing, and claim settlements, transfer of PF accounts. All these things are also being online, sir, and even grievance redressal also.
Sai, are you still preparing for civil services?
No, sir, I'm not preparing at present, sir. I have not given any data. Right now, my focus is on EPFO.
How many times have you already appeared in prelims for UPSC?
Sir, from 2017 till 2021, I have appeared, sir, and I have written 3 mains exams.
You've written 3 mains exams.
Yes,
so, what is the plan now? Is like your plan 1 was always UPSC, and can we say that EPFO was your plan B?
Sir, earlier that was the case, sir, but at present EPFO is the plan. Yes, sir.
And tell me, like, if I specifically talk about EPFO, and if we talk about labor laws, we always talk about, how labor is being treated. We always talk about participation of women.
Yes,
specifically, if I talk about India and its neighboring countries, we have seen a very quick increase in Bangladesh per capita income.
yes,
Right. And we see that in front of our eyes, they have now overtaken India also
yes.
in that aspect. What do you think they have done better that India should also be looking at?
Sir, one thing that I can recall right now is pointed out by Economic Survey. Sir, they have invested a lot into labor-intensive industries like textiles and other industries, where a lot of women and a lot of normal people may not be having very high skill level, but still a lot of labor-intensive employment opportunities are being created. And that was one of the reasons why unemployment is little bit lesser, and they were able to produce more and they were able to export also, sir. So they are coming up as a manufacturing hub. And considering the success of Bangladesh and China, India's government is also thinking in the similar direction, sir.
So are we doing something on these lines also? Can you name a few initiatives?
Sir, like the general thrust of Make in India is in that direction, sir. But also, especially since last few years under Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, government is trying to push more like local industries, and PLI schemes are also giving a lot of benefits to local industries. These three I can think of, sir.
Okay, these are two initiatives that you mentioned, Make in India and Atmanirbhar.
Yes.
Anything, any particular scheme? These are more of doctrines, but anything particular that has been done? A scheme or something that you can recall at this point?
Like PLI scheme, productive linked incentive scheme, it is giving benefits to various industries for domestic production.
Correct. Well, thank you, Sai.
So thank you, sir.
Sai, let's jump to your feedback session.
Yes.
You are well dressed,
Yes.
right? And you are using sorry, I'm not aware, or sorry, I have not witnessed too much. I have not witnessed it, not even sorry. So if panel is asking you a question, obviously it might have happened, right? So rather than that, I have not wished. You must use, sorry, sir, I am not aware out of it. I'm not aware about it, right?
Yes, sir.
Because obviously if the panel is asking, there might be any news around it.
Yes, sir.
So use, sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it, right?
Yes,
And rest is okay. Just prepare a few questions about your own company,
yes, sir.
right? You need to work on it. Are your current affairs prepared?
Sir, current affairs, I'm in touch with the newspapers every day, sir.
Are you updated?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you.
Sai, first of all, a few things that are positives. Most of it was positive itself. I think you were also able to judge yourself. So your communication skills are very good, and the points that you mention are always very crisp and very clear. So that's something which is very good. Also, at times when you wanted to take time, or when you wanted to do something, you've always asked for our permission, and your answer for not knowing anything was also relevant. So just the point that sir has mentioned, we can change it a little bit and it will be perfect to go. Right. I believe there can be 2-3 instances where the panel can grill you. The first one is your graduation and your post-graduation, right? That's a big question mark. And it tells the panel that this candidate who got selected in IIT, after doing his graduation, he changed his mind. So maybe this candidate has actually, wasted a seat of someone who was a deserving candidate, who could have actually, helped the Indian system in technological manner. Now, after gaining all of that knowledge, after spending so much money on him, now he's thinking of a different career. So maybe he is somebody who's not very stable. Maybe he's somebody that today he's sitting for an EPFO interview, but tomorrow he will find another career more lucrative and he will jump to that career. So in that aspect, I think the panel can grill you a lot. So make sure you have all your answers ready, crisp, and to the point. So you don't have to explain the entire story behind it, but then you have to have a proper timeline in mind. Otherwise, they can spend like 40-30 minutes on this very aspect itself, because this is something which is very rare. We don't see a lot of students having this kind of background. Second thing which you can be grilled on is your hobbies. Right? The reason is that the topics that you've mentioned, they are very broad. Cosmology, personal development, Indian humanism. So a lot of things can be, asked out of these things. And the panel will be looking at your DAF very, deeply. So they might read a lot of things about these things and they might, get into a discussion with you. So I hope all these things that you've mentioned here, you are very well prepared.
Yes, well prepared, sir.
You're well prepared.
Yes, sir.
So all these questions you will be able to handle.
Thank you.
These are the two aspects where I believe most of the questions will be asked.
Yes.
Apart from that, I think most of the things are clear and good enough. I will give this mic to Deepak sir now.
Saitija sir has given you the overall feedback. That's everything which we wanted to discuss with you. Only two aspects I will discuss. That is, one is with respect to the current affairs. You haven't prepared them. Okay, you need to work on them, specifically these 2-3 weeks current affairs. Okay, because that will be top of mind of the panelists there. So they will definitely ask you some questions with respect to your state, the national current affairs. So you should be very much clear with it, with that. And you are not clear with the EPFO scheme. That's a very, very basic questions. Okay, so EPFO schemes. When you are mentioning about e-governance initiatives of EPFO, you haven't mentioned any specific scheme, okay, or program. So you need to work on that. Okay, you see, you are giving long answers because you are not clear, or you are not. I guess your ideas are not that clear. That's the reason you are giving long answers. So at least for those questions which are very much expected, you should already have a structured answer with you, okay, so that they can be short, and that will give the panel scope to ask you more questions, and that will make you further comfortable, and you will get extra marks for that. Okay, so this is the aspect. And you have mentioned political theory. You have done post graduation in political science, but you are not able to explain Marxian theory on IR, industrialization, and dialectical materialism, give a negative orientation. Okay, so you need to see on that aspect that now we don't have that much time to prepare on these. So be very specific and very short while giving them. Because if you give a long answer, then you might give a wrong answer. Okay, so should just keep it short. Otherwise, you have a pleasing personality. You maintain a good eye contact also. That's a good aspect. Okay, these things are the main thing which I wanted to discuss with you. And you are going to appear in the interview in the same dress which you are wearing?
This one or other one is light blue color and blue tie, sir. That is also there. I'm just thinking, sir, which one is.
That is fine. If you are comfortable with the blazer or the coat, that will also go fine. Okay, you are properly dressed. Only I'm concerned about your shape, your beard.
Sir, I guess.
That will be appropriate. Okay, yes. You have any questions from us?
Sir, the main question is if they ask about the gap. At present, I'm working with since last few 3 months. But since last 3 months, I'm working with Vision IS, copy evaluation, that kind of thing.
So your gap years are from 2014 to
16 to 18.
2016 second half.
16 to 18, right?
Yeah, 16.
For 2 years. And what were actually you doing in these 2 years?
Sir, I was preparing the civil service exam.
So then I think, you'll have to be somewhere honest with the panel. I think there can be no story which can be crafted for 2 years. Yes. So you can tell them that, yes, I was trying my level best to crack UPSC, and I, gave my heart and my soul to this preparation. And I have learned a lot from this, and I have seen the downside and the upside. Yeah, so that's something that I have gained. I have gained a lot of knowledge, and all of that is now helping me with EPFO's examination. So this is how you can try and explain your situation. So it is not something illegal that you have done, right? So everybody has the right.
Very small.
Yes, exactly. And 2 years is not a very big time. So we have students who have 6 years, 9 years of gap, right? So you have done something constructive. You have done something which has given you more knowledge, right? So it is something which is to be shown in a positive manner. Right. So if you are able to do that, I don't think the panel will have any problem with that. But yes, from now on, if they ask you that whether you will be appearing for the next UPSC examination, then your answer has to be no, sir. This is my final decision. Now I will be now, appearing for EPFO, and that will be my final call. Yes. Even if I'm not, if they ask you if you're not able to clear this exam, then you can say that I will be more than happy to go back to the private sector. That is my only choice. Yes. Or I will try again, right? If the EPFO exam comes again.
Yes.
Done?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sai. All the very best. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.